Throughout pop culture history, we've fallen in love with countless animals who've grown in popularity to become more iconic than most humans could ever hope. From the two most famous animals on Earth to the top dog and the mightiest mouse. We've had the world's most beloved dolphin Flipper, the planet's favourite lion Simba, and history's most famous bear Yogi. Or Winnie the Pooh. Or maybe Paddington. Plus, television's favourite horse, Mr. Ed.
Are you sure you know what you're talking about?
Buddy, you're getting it right from the horse's mouth.
And yes, millennials, I know BoJack Horseman is a thing, and Gen Xers, I loved Artax too, but the king of the horses is Mr. Ed, which is neither here nor there because this isn't a horse episode. This is a frog episode. While man's best friend may be a dog, and there are absolutely more famous dogs than frogs throughout pop culture history, for some reason, the animal that's achieved notoriety with virtually every generation since before the discovery of film is the humble frog. And sometimes the toad. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. It was like I was in some sort of trance. Anyway, in 2025, there's another famous frog to go into the Pop Culture Hall of Fame, who half the world will recognise, while the other half will only be seeing him for the first time today. So before he's revealed, who are the famous frogs that have paved the way? Michigan J. Frog. He's pretty quiet after his short film debut in 1955.
Gee, Daffy, I wonder who they're going to get to pull the switch.
But ended up being the mascot of US TV network the WB, and in one-upping Bugs and Daffy for the honour of launching the channel in October 1995, secured his place in pop culture history.
What's up, Frog?
But Michigan J. Frog is nowhere near the oldest frog in the Pop Culture Hall of Fame, thanks to the 1908 story Wind in the Willows. And it doesn't matter how old you are, we all read about or watched the antics of Mr. Toad. In the US from 1972, and now for over half a century, Diggum the Frog has been the mascot for Kellogg's Sugar Smacks.
Part of this nutritious breakfast.
Then Honey Smacks, or these days just Smacks, because, you know, sugar. Diggum even made an appearance on Family Guy, where the sugar wasn't the biggest problem.
And I don't like the contraction apostrophe EM. As far as I'm concerned, his name is Dig Them. You're not welcome here, Dig Them.
The 80s delivered the most iconic frog of the decade, and it wasn't from a book, a film, or a TV show. It was thanks to the video game revolution.
Don't forget a bit of Frogger.
And while Frogger first appeared in arcades, he appeared in the life of 8-year-old me, thanks to the Atari 2600.
The new Frogger home video game. Bring it back to your pad.
And Frogger's legacy in pop culture history was set in stone nearly 20 years later, thanks to George Costanza and one of sitcom TV's most iconic scenes. More recently, 2009 saw the arrival of Disney princess Tiana, who tries to help turn a prince who's been turned into a frog back into a prince. Makes sense, right? But it doesn't go as planned, and Tiana herself gets turned into a frog. There are stacks of other iconic frogs that deserve a mention, like Hello Kitty's mate Keroppi.
This is so awesome!
Pepe, the meme king frog. Froakie, the Pokemon frog. And for Aussie viewers, a staple of every party bag for the last 90 years, Cadbury's Freddo Frog.
Freddo's fantastic and it tastes great too.
Yes, he does. And finally, the planet's most iconic frog of them all, Muppet leader and crack Sesame Street news flash reporter.
Hi-ho, this is Kermit the Frog speaking to you from the scene of the accident, where Mr. Humpty Dumpty is just fallen off of his wall.
Which brings us to today, the frog of the moment. This guy. Every morning when I come into the kitchen, he begins his day's adventures alongside me. And then we bump into each other doing different activities throughout the day. Well, I'm rarely doing anything different in the kitchen other than staring vacantly into the fridge. But he is busy because he is the Google weather frog. For almost a decade now, he's never said a word. In fact, he never even makes a sound. But much like the Hypnotoad, the Google Weather Frog is mesmerising. The scene that you're presented with changes throughout the day depending on what the weather is at that moment in real time. And depending on what the Google Weather Frog's up to, he's easier to spot sometimes than he is at others, which is where my fascination with his adventures begins. If I walk past and he's not there, that's the end of any planned productivity for the next 5 minutes, or until he shows back up. He does have a name, by the way, Froggy, which I feel is uninspired, hence my use of his formal title, Google Weather Frog. But before he was officially Google Weather Frog, Froggy made a number of Google Doodle appearances. If you don't know, every time you see a different version of the Google logo above the search bar, recognising some significant day or moment in history, that's the work of an entire division of Google that has the responsibility of planning, producing and rolling out those unique Google logos, and they're officially called Google Doodles, and Froggy's been spotted in a bunch of them, most notably New Year's Eve 2019. And as 2020 was a leap year, he got the call up for the following New Year's Day logo. And he starred in the Google Doodles short film for Halloween 2017. So he's been around. But while millions interact with him every day, he's still an international frog of mystery of sorts. A quick Google Weather Frog search will return a lot of panic-stricken Froggy fans searching for him, as it appears over the years he's come and gone from different devices and platforms. Confusingly, most of them seem to be Pixel phone users. I say confusingly because the Pixel phone is a Google product. If he was on my phone, I doubt I would open it just to check what he's up to, but because he's always there when I'm looking for something to look at, the Google Weather Frog has inconspicuously infiltrated our day-to-day lives. He's the ultimate co-worker, housemate, and role model, if you're a fan of low-maintenance relationships. Some people love the drama. If you love the drama, he's not for you. The most drama you'll get from the Google Weather Frog will be courtesy of GRAFFITI. And even then, he's a glass-half-full guy. I wonder if Isaac Newton ate the apple. And he is a role model. By the time I drag myself out of bed in the morning, he's already climbed a mountain and begun meditating. Sure, he'll go inside if it's too wet. He's not crazy, but otherwise, he's a real outdoorsman. Sometimes I'll catch him studying botany, and other times preparing a campfire. When I went to bed the other night, I noticed he was camping and calling it a night at the same time as me. When I got up for a drink of water in the middle of the night, he'd pulled out a telescope for some stargazing. Role model. He's a better man than me, or frog. Well, he's obviously a better frog than me. So, to be clear, this isn't the second coming of Kermit, which is good news for Kermit because he's still alive. It's not the cult phenomenon of Keroro or the enigma of Pepe. But the Google Weather Frog has engaged with us in a way that no other frog icon has in popular culture. And while it's too early to tell, it is worth wondering if he could be one of the keys to us welcoming artificial intelligence into our homes. But before we freak ourselves out, in the meantime, he's a welcome inductee alongside the other famous frogs of pop culture history.